Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching BudaiMarcell playing in the Tier 8 American light tank, the T49, aka Mr. One Shot. Now why is that? That's because this gun is 152mm. Imagine the father of a KV2 and the mother of a Walker Bulldog, all the speed of a Walker Bulldog and all of the troll-natured gun like you get on the Tier 6 Soviet heavy tank, and bang, you've got yourself a T49. This 152mm is absolutely filthy because it does things like this. Yeah, that new M41 90mm, the Grand Finals edition, aka the Black Dog, is not feeling too happy about himself anymore, as that high explosive shell penetrates his tank, doing 1011 damage. Now fair enough, that's a pretty good roll for this tank. On average, you've got the same alpha as a KV2, i.e. 910, with 76mm of penetration on its standard high explosive rounds, 85mm on its premium high explosive rounds, but interestingly enough, this vehicle fires heat as standard as an option on the gun. The penetration is the same as the caliber, 152, but the alpha damage is 700. That wasn't a heat round, that was a high explosive round, but bang goes the 5916 on the enemy team. And it doesn't look like that Black Dog was very happy about the damage that BudaiMarcell had done to him, so he comes over the ridgeline, puts one into Budai, but luckily the 1375 supports the T49's very long reload, and that's because this thing, it doesn't actually have that much DPM, even if you manage to consistently penetrate your high explosive shells, 2,373 to be exact. There are many light tanks such as the RU-251 Speerpanzer that can do that and have vastly more penetration and don't have these high explosive derpy shells. But the T49 is a class of its own really, there's no other tank like it in the game, and so that's why it's a favourite for many players. When I initially got this vehicle, I really did quite enjoy it because it's troll as hell, and then I got a little bit bored of it because I found that after you get past the initial bang big hits, it sort of feels a little bit sluggish, a little bit vulnerable, and it's quite annoying doing 300 damage to a tank and then having to spend the next 15 or so seconds reloading. But it's very satisfying also to not even have to penetrate the enemy vehicle to be able to do damage to them with the large caliber high explosive shells. 357 damage done there to an SU-12244. And of course, if the T49 had got a little bit more lucky, maybe he could have hit the side of that vehicle and literally one-shot a tier 7 tank destroyer. Just looking at it, it looks like BudaiMarcell is a rather naughty boy because he's actually blue, but he hasn't done anything so far in this game. I had no idea that World of Tanks recorded your blue status from previous rounds in the replay file. So BudaiMarcell, you know, that's strike one. Hopefully you're going to be a good guy from now on, right? Make up for it? Who knows? But anyway, one of the most disappointing things as well for me about the T49 is the accuracy. Now, of course, it would be completely OP if a derp gun had very good accuracy, right? But it is 0.6. It has pretty much the worst accuracy on any high-tier tank that isn't an artillery piece. So, you're quite lucky even when you hit the broadside of a comet from those kind of ranges. But it did hit, combining for 273 damage that tier 7 British medium tank, picking up BudaiMarcell's second kill of the game. Now he's going to be looking to try and support the C75 against the T10, but he's going to be very lucky to be able to launch a shell over this ridgeline. But then again, thinking about it, the way that the tank does loop its shells, you can actually quite successfully use it a bit like a self-propelled gun, i.e. fire your rounds over ridgelines towards the targets. Now he's going to see what he can do against the side of this American Tier 9 heavy tank, the M103. He's only got 2 standard high explosive shells left, but he does have a wealth of premium high explosive shells, 5 of them to be exact, but he does take a hell of a lot of heat rounds, 11. That's quite a lot of heat ammunition to take in the T49. Because obviously, 152mm of heat pen doesn't do very well when you get Tier 9 matchmaking as standard. And yes, I know this is a Tier 8 light tank, but remember all light tanks get matched up as if they were a medium tank that was 1 tier higher than them. So this game is rather close right now, 7 versus 8. Budai's team, I mean, he's going to have to do some carrying here though, because statistically and tier-wise, the enemy do have the advantage right now. Especially that platoon, the IS-3 and the T-69 are likely going to be a pain in the backside for BudaiMarcell to be able to take out here. He's going to have another punt at this SU-122-44, however. Will he be able to find a shot at long range? Remember, 0.6 accuracy and some terrible aim time, 3.6 seconds aim time. It looks like that hit, but maybe it only hit the gun. The SU-122-44 is still alive, even though, oh, I guess he had 483 hit points. Maybe that round did hit, and the SU might be on very low health now. Now, the Black Dog, the M4190 on Budai's team, is trying to press in. But looks like Budai is finally going to leave his spot, which he has been dominating throughout the game. He's managed to have a fairly good result there. 2,200 damage is nice for a tier 8 light tank. Also picking up a couple of kills from the middle. But now he realizes that it's time to start to branch out and actually pick up some damage and secure some kills, because his team are now down by 3 tanks. So he manages to hit the M103 there, but unfortunately, it didn't hit the back of the M103 flush, otherwise it would have likely have penetrated. And so he does 360 damage, and oh my god, what is this IS-3 thinking? So now he is loading heat rounds, and these are no more expensive than the standard high explosive rounds on this tank. They're balanced that way, very long shell travel time, 152mm of penetration, but when you've got this IS-3 basically on his side, oh my god, did you see that T10 tried to crash down on the E75 and in fact only ended up getting himself killed? Will Budai be able to finish off the IS-3 with his second shot? He should be able to. Oh, what a disgusting low roll. That is completely unfortunate. Now the IS-3 is down to 28 hit points. Wow, that is an amazing low roll. The average damage on these heat rounds is 700, and he had to roll for 581 to be able to allow that IS-3 a second chance. But Budai now is going to be gunning for an M103, and luckily he has got the jump on it. This M103 is a very good player and picked up a top gun, but it doesn't matter. Shut down the M103, great result there. And Budai was actually in a 1 versus 6 for a couple of seconds there. And that's because the M4190 on his team were taken out just before he shut down the M103. So, M103 picks up a top gun, as you would expect, being a top tier tank in this kind of a matchup with hardly any tier 9s. But the T49 here, fair enough, this is very nice matchmaking for a T49, but you still got to feel like you're a bit of an underdog in this situation. He has to deal with a T69, a very dangerous autoloader. He has to hope that that T69 is going to die for his heat round, but hopefully he's not going to roll as low as he did against the IS-3. And this is a very interesting aspect of the game. BudaiMarcell remembered where that IS-3 was stuck. Remember, he was on his side against the wall, and so Budai fired the shell just as the T69 got spotted, and that's unfortunate for him. Also, one thing that's a little bit disappointing about this replay is that Budai doesn't have sixth sense, and so we can't really estimate whether he's been spotted in locations and see how good the view range is, and also the camera rating on the T49. So the T69 makes his stand, he puts 2 rounds into Budai, but he shuts him down in the side. That was a chancy shot, but he had to try and make it because the ST1 had his flank. The ST1 just sounds like he misses, and Budai picks up his 5th kill. Gosh, that T69 kill was rather risky, but you do have to take your chances in this tank. Well, it's got 0.6 accuracy and 3.6 seconds aim time and practically no armor. You definitely have to take your chances with this vehicle unless you control the range of engagement. And when there are 2 artillery on the enemy team, you don't want to stay in one place for any large amount of time. But 4,800 damage so far, 5 kills. Now he's changed a 1 versus 6 into a 1 versus 3. BudaiMarcell, we don't know if he's spotted right now and he wants to get out of trouble, but the new physics mean that he lose about 25% of his hit points going down that slope, 74 to be exact, leaving him on 343. And that means now that the ST1, even if he's using a stock gun, is going to be able to one-shot Marcell. It doesn't look like you need sixth sense to realize that the GW Panther cannot see him here, however, and a great assassination on the GW Panther, who looks like he knew he was spotted, changes this now into a 1 versus 2, and also BudaiMarcell picks up his 6th kill of the game, securing a top gun. Okay, so now all he has to do is try and find out where this FV3805 is, who has also picked up 2 kills. Now he's likely to be probably camping where he was last spotted, but will the FV predict where Marcell is going to be coming from, knowing that the GW Panther just got shut down on his team? Budai has to be very careful here. He has to try and catch the FV3805 805 in the side. It is a very big tank, and so if you can get the side of the tank, he should be alright. There you go. Even though the artillery knew roughly where Marcel was going to be coming from, it didn't make a difference as he gets his side and shuts him down, securing his 7th kill of this game and leaving him now in a 1 versus 1 against an ST1. But unfortunately for him, the ST1 has 1,800 hit points. Does that mean the ST1 is stock? That must mean that the ST1 is stock. And there he was indeed, the ST1 just managing to come back to the cap circle to defend. And it looks like that gentleman is using the stock turret. Let's just clarify this. Yes, that definitely is a stock ST1. You can tell by the health points of the vehicle. I just had to triple check there. So BudaiMarcell absolutely legs it away from the ST1 and now positions himself, hopefully, to try and spot the ST1 who he thinks is going to be advancing towards him. I'm not sure if we saw a tree fall there on the left. Yes, okay, there go a couple more trees. Surely he's going to be popping around the corner here. Great hit. It looks like the ST1 knew where he was. He was aiming directly towards him. A shell just misses BudaiMarcell. And I really wish we had 6th Sense here. Just to let us know how good the view range is on the ST1. Now remember, we heard the crit bell there. When you're getting hit by rather large high explosive rounds, all manner of damage can be done to your tank. And it might be the case that this ST1 has lost his commander, but it doesn't look like it so far. Another critical hit there, at least according to the commander, but we didn't hear the crit bell. Gosh, this is just so much more dangerous without 6th Sense. If you had 6th Sense, you just feel so much more secure against the ST1 in this situation. But Marcel is still handling himself very well indeed. He's using high explosive rounds, premium ones to be exact, to just start to whittle down the ST1. The first hit 291, the second hit 176, and this is where the T49 was rather frustrating for me. Poor accuracy, low amounts of damage against highly armored tanks. It's just very tricky to be able to deal with them unless you've got several minutes available to you. And luckily for Marcel, he does have several minutes available to him. He's got 2 minutes and 45 seconds to be exact left on this game. 2 more high explosive shells though, and then all he will have left is heat. And heat doesn't do very well against the ST1. Wow, the ST1 is angling his armor terribly, and oh my word, 919 damage. That was a roll of the gods to go through the upper, well, literally the armor on top of the ST1, the thin upper turret armor on that stock turret. And that puts BudaiMarcell well into this game now. He only has to do another 414 damage to the ST1. Will he kill him with this next shell? Oh, he tries to hit the lower plate, but again, only 198 damage. And now he is left with only heat rounds. Remember, these heat rounds are pretty much never going to pen the front of the ST1. Really, to secure this game, he has to get flush up against the rear of that vehicle and fire a derpy round into it. And he's also down to a one-shot. He's also gunning for a Radley Walters here. Surely he gets spotted by the ST1 as he does make a pass across there, unless the ST1 has lost his commander. He's going to have a quick look here. Doesn't look like the ST1 quite saw him. What is happening here? Is he not see? Is he not spotted? The ST1 doesn't see Marcel coming up from behind. Okay, this is it. It's man mode time. He drives right up behind the ST1. Times his shot, waits for the accuracy to go good, and bang, finishes off a 1 versus 6. 8 kills, 7,459 damage. Just what an awesome result here for a light tank against all odds. The key to BudaiMarcell's victory this game was the way that he managed to isolate all of his opponents one by one, shutting them down with this very meaty 152mm. Because while the alpha damage on the T49 is truly fantastic, if you can't control the pace of the engagement, this vehicle just falters. So this was BudaiMarcell's first ace tanker in the T49, and boy, what an ace tanker this was. 1,960 base experience points, the Radley Walters medal for his 8th kill, unsurprisingly a high caliber medal for 7,688 damage, That's simply ridiculous that he had to do 4 times more damage even tanks that were higher tier than him were able to do. And it should also be noted that this much damage in the T49 is within the top 5 of all time replays. Strangely enough, BudaiMarcell also picked up a tank sniper for doing the most damage at 300 meters, and also the one that everyone wants, the Kolobanov's medal for standing alone against at least 5 opponents. Well, either BudaiMarcell is a master marksman or he was getting the luck of the Irish this game, considering the 0.6 accuracy and the range of the engagements that he chose. Of the 19 shots that he fired, 18 of those hits and every single round penetrated. And you can clearly see in the detailed reports that while he did fire a few premium high explosive rounds, the standard high explosive and the standard heat on this tank is actually very cheap, meaning that he made quite a decent amount of profit. So BudaiMarcell, thank you so much for submitting this on the replays.QuickyBaby.com website. It's always a pleasure to see a light tank have such a fantastic result. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. If you did, please consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to see another awesome T49 replay, then simply click through up here to a video called You Scared Boy? Lucky Shot. Or use that more info icon in the top right hand corner of your screen to see a plethora of other awesome tier 8 American light tank replays. And let me know in the comments down below whether you love or hate the T49 and why. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.